So, you've been manifesting for months, years, doing the affirmations, repeating them daily, repeating and like day in, day out, doing the visualizations, doing the inner work, but still, nothing. Zero. Nada. You're starting to get frustrated. You're staying faithful, but you're kind of like, God, where's my mansion? And you're starting to question things like, is the desire that I have not the purpose that I'm meant to be doing? Am I meant to be going another way and I just can't figure it out? And is manifestation even real? Stop. My friend, it is real, and that desire was definitely put on your heart for a reason. That's not the problem here. The problem is that you're obsessing, or you're subconsciously obsessing over that absolute end result, day in, day out, visualizing this end result, and you're not there yet. That's the truth. You're not there yet. And you're negating this whole beautiful journey, which is called the present moment, the next step. I'll tell you a little thing that happened to me recently, and then at the end, I'll give you guys like techniques that I use myself to create my dream life. So recently I was that person second guessing myself and the desires and my goals. And then I realized that I've actually manifested purposefully or intentionally many times before. And I reminded myself of a manifestation, which was actually this house, the house that I'm currently living in. And I actually found it in my journal because I actually use the water manifestation technique. And I'm not telling you to go out there and use the water manifestation technique, but it's the whole process that I want to talk to you guys about. So my manifestation, and I have it written here, I love my home. It is the best location for me, has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, less than $400 a week, and is spacious, modern with excellent heating and lighting. I am comfortable here in this home. Now, I wrote this manifestation out. I did it with water, and then I let it go. And I went on my merry way. I started to, with my housemate at the time, like my soon-to-be housemate, I started to apply for houses. We were sending each other links to different houses that had like some of the things that I wanted, like, and they were nice houses. And we started to go see houses, and then we just kept doing this, like just kept living in the present moment, trying to find a house, and it wasn't frustrating. And then one day she was at work and she got talking with a real estate agent who offered us a house. And it was crazy because I hadn't seen this house when we signed the lease. I didn't know what it looked like, but I just got this really, when she told me on the phone that night, I got this giddy, exciting feeling about it. And I just went, yeah, let's do this. Like, and we'd been looking for a house and getting rejected from houses for a while now, but it wasn't a desperation feeling. It was just an excitement, giddy feeling. And I didn't see this house until I had the keys in my hand and I opened the door and I walked in, and it was mine. And I walked into this house, and it was exactly what I wrote in my journal and more. Like the things that I wanted in a house, like the modern look and everything, things that I didn't write in there were also there as well that I wanted. And I just thought to myself, wow, like it blew my mind that this had happened so easily. Like it felt so easy, even though we had been applying for houses for months. The end result was so easy. And a few months later, I actually found that journaling piece, because I was journaling and I accidentally opened it on that page. And it was like I was meant to see it. And I looked at it and I laughed and I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked around the house and I was like, I got exactly what I asked for and more. And that's what every single manifestation, like teacher, coach, mentor will tell you, is like, you will desire something. If you manifest correctly, you will get what you want and more. Things that you didn't even like focus on. So here are a few key things that I did that made this manifest so easily. Number 1 was I manifested something in my next step. I didn't do the 20 to 100th step. Like in the future, it was the next step of my journey. I visualized it, I knew what I wanted, I wrote it down, and I felt the feeling. I then knew it was possible and I let go. I didn't visualize the specifics. I didn't visualize the actual thing. I did, however, remind myself daily, whenever I needed to, that it was mine and I was taking action. Like, I reminded myself that I was moving forward and taking action towards this. I took action in the way I knew how from the present moment. I started applying for houses, viewing houses, speaking with my housemate about like how we live, what our routines are, what our expectations of each other are, like what our boundaries are. And we just went with that, like what I could do in the present moment, what I knew to do. Finally, when the opportunity arose, even though logically it wasn't ideal not seeing the house before moving in, and like I could have been like, oh my god, I have to see this first. I need to know whether or not it's what I want and what like what I need and all of that. I trusted the giddy feeling inside of me and just went with the flow. These are the real key things to manifesting. These are the bite-sized steps. So my advice to you is, instead of constantly visualizing step 100, like the mansion or the $1 million company, start in the present. Start in the present moment and visualize, like imagine releasing your first product. Imagine booking in your first client, having that first client appointment, or making your first sale. Like those are the little things, like launching a website, or you know, if you're still living at home with your parents but you're imagining having this mansion, imagine like going to look at properties like within your price range for now, because that is more tangible in your mind and it won't send you into this crazy feeling of like, oh my god, is this too big? Because it's not too big. But for the person that you are right now, yeah, it is a little big. And you're probably missing out on like a whole range of your journey where you learn all of that stuff. Like, you're missing out on the fun part if you're focusing on step 100 instead of like step 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. You know, you need to stop jumping the gun in your mind. The future is already yours, but if you keep trying to go from step 1 to 100, then you are missing out on all that knowledge. And if you were to do, like, if you were to manifest that thing, for instance, if you were to like, you know, get that mansion straight away, would you be able to maintain it? Would you be able to know how to hold space for that? Or that $1 million company? Can you imagine, like, if you had never run a company, you never had your first sale, you never employed anyone before, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's in your lap? You wouldn't be able to hold space for that. And then you would lose it, and then you would have no self-belief. Like, God will protect your self-esteem and your belief in yourself above everything else. So while the egoic mind might be saying to you, I'm ready for this, let's do it, let's have it all now, I want to skip those steps, like, just chill. Because you don't want to miss out on the journey. And this is something I had to tell myself, because I'd be like, nah, I went through a state where I didn't want to be in the reality that I was in, and I was like, nah, I just want to go from 0 to 100. And now I look at that and I go, if I had have gotten that girl would not have been able to hold space for it, you know. And I'm enjoying the journey that I'm on right now, and you should too, because this is the fun part. The process and the journey is the fun part. You don't want to be hyper fixated and focused on that end result, because it will just eat you alive. And I know that, you know, there's so much information out there about like manifesting and imagining that end result, but in reality, like, it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as imagining these things and just getting them, because the whole point of manifestation, and they do say this, but you just have to read between the lines, is that you need to manifest each step first. You need to manifest the journey first. And a way of making that easier is this technique, is to imagine and visualize that first step rather than the last step. Like, you already know that last step. Me, we've all been doing that for years. We've all been visualizing and affirming it for years. I don't necessarily think that you need to visualize your mansion and or your $1 million company every single day. I think that visualizing the process, and even if I'm not saying visualize how you're going to do it, but I'm saying visualizing steps that you think are right. Like visualizing their end result in that moment. For instance, like, don't visualize how you're going to get that first client, but visualize talking to that first client. Or if you don't need to visualize how you're going to sell that first product, but you do need to visualize selling that first product, if you know what I mean. Anyways, I think that's all that I have to say in this video, but I hope it was helpful.